Looking for the ultimate way to spend 2 days in Syracuse? This Sicilian gem blends ancient Greek ruins, baroque squares, and a lively market scene all set up by the sea. In this itinerary, we'll take you through Ortigia's historic streets, the Grand Cathedral, bustling food spots, and the city's famous archaeological park. Get ready for a trip filled with history, flavor, and unforgettable views. Best time to visit. The best months to explore Syracuse are April to June and September to October. Spring days reach around 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 to 27 degrees Celsius, perfect for walking through Ortigia or exploring the archaeological park without the heat. In early autumn, temperatures stay between 72 to 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 to 25 degrees Celsius. The sea is still warm for swimming, and evenings are comfortable for outdoor dining. These shoulder months give you pleasant weather with fewer crowds than the peak summer months. Airport tips. Most visitors arrive through Catania Fontanarossa Airport, the closest international gateway about 40 miles, 65 kilometers from Syracuse. The most budget-friendly option is the Interbus coach, which runs directly to Syracuse in about 70 minutes for roughly $7. Taxis and private transfers are quicker, taking around an hour, but prices start closer to $100 one way. Renting a car at the airport is also straightforward and useful if you plan to explore the countryside or beaches beyond Syracuse. Where to stay? For a classic experience, stay in Ortigia, the historic heart of Syracuse. Here you'll be steps away from the cathedral, markets, and seafront, with boutique hotels and B&Bs typically priced between $120 and $200 per night. Just across the bridge in the modern city, hotels near the archipelago are a bit more affordable at $90 to $140, with easier access to parking and larger properties. For a quieter base, consider a countryside agriturismo just outside the town. These farms stay usually in the range of $100 to $150 per night and often include homemade breakfasts with local produce. How to get around. Syracuse is compact and most of Ortigia can be explored on foot. For trips further out, local buses connect the center with the Archaeological Park, nearby beaches, and residential districts, with single tickets costing just a few dollars. Taxis and ride shares are available, but not always frequent, so it helps to arrange them through your hotel when needed. If you're planning day trips to Noto, Ragusa, or the surrounding nature reserves, renting a car gives you the most flexibility, with daily rates starting at around $40. Day 1. Exploring Ortigia's heart and coastal highlights. Morning. Breakfast at Viola Bakery. Start your Syracuse adventure at Viola Bakery, a local favorite where the counters are filled with golden cornettos, rich pistachio pastries, and flaky treats that pair perfectly with a cappuccino. It's the kind of place where mornings feel unhurried and you can enjoy a true Sicilian start to the day before heading out to explore. A pastry and coffee together will cost around $5 to $10. Piazza del Duomo and surrounding monuments. Begin your sightseeing at Piazza del Duomo, Ortigia's grand central square. It's wide, bright, and lively, the kind of place that makes you stop for a moment just to take it all in. Around you stands the Beneventano Palace, the City Hall, and the Archbishop's Palace, each with its own story and impressive facade. Together, they frame the square and give it that elegant character that makes this spot so memorable. The piazza is pedestrian only, which makes it one of the best places for photos without traffic or noise. The paving stones and limestone facades take on a different character throughout the day, glowing bright white in full sun, then turning golden in the softer evening light. Many people linger here not only to admire the architecture, but also to enjoy the open-air cafes and watch locals using the square as their meeting point. Plan to spend at least 20 to 30 minutes soaking in the atmosphere before continuing on. Insider tip. For a calmer moment, slip into one of the side alleys, then step back into the square. You'll get a great angle for photos and a clearer view without the usual cluster of people in front of you. Late morning, Syracuse Cathedral, Duomo di Syracuse. While you're in the square, step into the Syracuse Cathedral, the crown jewel of Ortigia. Its baroque facade is impressive, but what makes it truly unique is the way it blends layers of history. The building began as a 5th century BC Greek temple dedicated to Athena, and when you walk inside, you can still see the massive Doric columns forming part of the church's walls. In the Byzantine era, it became a Christian cathedral, later a mosque under Arab rule, and finally rebuilt in grand Sicilian Baroque style after an earthquake in 1693. Because of its unusual layering, the cathedral is part of Syracuse's UNESCO World Heritage listing, recognized as one of the best examples of architecture where pagan, Islamic, and Christian traditions literally merge into one building. Inside, you'll also find ornate marble altars and chapels, alongside more modest traces of the earlier structure. Entry is only $2, and most people spend around 20 to 30 minutes exploring, though history enthusiasts could easily linger longer. Church of Santa Lucia alla Badia. On the southern side of the square is the Church of Santa Lucia alla Badia, smaller than the cathedral but worth a short stop. Inside hangs one of the treasures of Syracuse, Caravaggio's painting The Burial of St. Lucy, dedicated to the city's patron saint. The church itself is simple, but the artwork alone makes it memorable, especially with the dramatic use of lighting and shadow that Caravaggio is known for. Entry is free, and it only takes a few minutes to step inside before continuing your walk. Insider tip. Note that there may be restrictions on photographing the painting, so it's best to ask at the door. Fountain of Diana. Continue your walk to Piazza Archimede, home to the Fountain of Diana. Built in 1907, it shows the goddess Diana, protector of women, standing tall with her bow while mythological figures surround her at the base. The mountain is one of the most photographed spots in Ortigia, and with cafes lining the piazza, it's a lively place to pause for a moment and enjoy the view. Insider tip. If you come back here after sunset, the fountain is beautifully illuminated and makes a striking photo stop at night. Afternoon, Temple of Apollo. From here, you'll reach the ruins of the Temple of Apollo, standing at the entrance of Ortigia. Built in the 6th century BC, it's considered the oldest Doric temple in Sicily. Over the centuries, it was reused many times as a Byzantine church, an Islamic mosque, and even a military barracks under the Spanish. Today, only fragments remain, but the tall columns and broad base still give you a sense of its size and importance. The site is open air and free to walk around, so you can take your time circling the perimeter and reading the panels that explain its history. Most visitors spend about 15 minutes here before moving on, but if you're interested in ancient architecture, you may want to linger longer. Insider tip. The best perspective of the columns is from across the street on Corso Matteotti. Step back here for a clear photo without traffic or market stalls in the way. Ortigia Market and lunch at Caseificio Bordieri. From the temple, it's a short walk to the Ortigia Market. Stalls are packed with seafood on ice, bright fruit and vegetables, cheeses, and spices, with vendors calling out the daily specials. This is where you find Caseificio Bordieri, famous for its overstuffed sandwiches layered with fresh cheese, cured meats, grilled vegetables, herbs, and a drizzle of olive oil. Prices are friendly, usually about $7 to $10 for a very large panino, and watching them assemble it is part of the fun. Plan this as part of your lunch stop and give yourself a little time to wander the aisles. Port of Syracuse. From the market, make your way to the Port of Syracuse, a short stroll that brings you to the water's edge. Here, you'll see rows of colorful fishing boats bobbing in the harbor, a reminder that Syracuse has always been tied to the sea. It's a short but worthwhile stop, adding a nice contrast to the ancient ruins and lively market. This is the everyday working side of the city. Pause for a few minutes to enjoy the sea air, snap a few photos of the boats, and watch the fishermen tending their nets. Insider tip. Early afternoon is when many boats are docked. If you want livelier scenes, come back in the morning when fishermen return with their catch. Late afternoon, Castello Maniace. Follow the promenade out to the tip of Ortigia to reach Castello Maniace, the fortress that has stood watch over Syracuse for more than 700 years. Built under Emperor Frederick II in the 13th century, it was designed to defend the city from sea attacks. The entrance takes you across a narrow causeway, adding to the feeling of stepping into a fortress. Inside, you'll find a vast courtyard surrounded by high walls, Gothic arches, and stone halls that echo with history. What most visitors remember, though, are the views. From the ramparts, you can see the Ionian Sea stretching endlessly, with waves crashing right against the base of the castle. Entry is around $5, and most people spend about 30 to 45 minutes exploring the interior and the viewpoints. Insider tip. Aim to arrive at least an hour before closing so you have time to see the interior halls, walk the perimeter, and enjoy the sea views without rushing. Early evening. Stroll through Ortigia's alleys and cafes. After leaving the castle, head back into Ortigia's network of alleys. This is the time of day when the streets come alive. Shop windows glow, cafes set out tables, and the sound of conversations fill the lanes. The beauty here is in wandering without a set plan. Peek into little courtyards, stop for an aperitivo, and enjoy the way the neighborhood shifts from the day into evening. Evening, sunset at Fountain of Aretusa. Make your way to the waterfront to see the Fountain of Aretusa, one of the most famous landmarks in Syracuse. According to legend, the nymph Aretusa was transformed into a sprig by the goddess Artemis, and the fountain has been flowing here ever since. Today, it's a peaceful pool filled with papyrus plants and ducks, set against the backdrop of the sea. This is the perfect spot to end the sightseeing part of the day, especially at sunset when the sky glows over the water and the whole setting feels timeless. Dinner at Le Vin de l'Assassin Bistro. Close out your first day in Ortigia with a dinner at Le Vin de l'Assassin, one of the island's most beautiful bistros. The menu blends Sicilian flavors with a French touch, offering dishes like duck breast with Sicilian citrus or pasta with fresh seafood and herbs. The restaurant has a warm, intimate feel, and it's a great place to relax after a full day of exploring. Expect to spend around $25 to $40 per person, depending on how many courses you choose. Day 2. Syracuse's sacred sites and archaeological treasures. Morning, breakfast at Bar Pasticceria Midolo. Start your day at Bar Pasticceria Midolo, a bustling spot where locals grab their morning coffee before work, and the counters are filled with classic Sicilian choices. The arancini here are especially popular in the mornings, sitting right alongside sweet options like pistachio pastries and cream-filled brioche. If you want to eat like a local, stand at the counter with a quick espresso, or take a seat and enjoy a cappuccino at a slower pace. Breakfast here is easy on the wallet, usually around $3 to $7. Syracuse Cycle Path. From the Pasticceria, head out for a walk along the Syracuse Cycle Path. This seaside route runs just over 3 miles, or about 5 kilometers, following the coast with open views back towards Ortigia. It's flat and easy, making it just as good for a slow stroll as for a bike ride. Along the way, you'll spot fishermen casting their lines, locals out jogging, and the waves breaking against the rocks. Plan for about 30 to 45 minutes before moving on, but even a short section of the path gives you a refreshing start to the day. Late morning, Sanctuary of Our Lady of Tears. A short walk inland brings you to the Sanctuary of Our Lady of Tears, one of the most unusual landmarks in Syracuse. Its soaring conical spire dominates the skyline, completed in 1994 to commemorate the miracle of a small plaster image of the Virgin that was said to have shed tears in 1953. At over 330 feet, about 103 meters, the spire makes the building visible from miles away, and its modern concrete design contrasts sharply with the baroque churches of Ortigia. Inside, the vast central hall is striking in its simplicity. Rays of light stream through narrow slits in the structure, creating an atmosphere very different from the richly decorated cathedrals you'll see elsewhere in Sicily. It's free to enter, and even a short visit helps you understand the place it holds in the religious life of the city. Insider tip: take the elevator down to the crypt level. It's quieter, and the exhibits give you a closer look at the story behind the miracle that inspired the sanctuary. Afternoon, Paolo Orsi Regional Archaeological Museum. Just a few minutes from the sanctuary is the Paolo Orsi Regional Archaeological Museum, considered one of the finest in Italy. The collection spans everything from prehistoric finds to treasures of the Greek and Roman periods, with artifacts excavated in Syracuse and across Sicily. You'll see delicate vases, intricate mosaics, statues, and even early Christian sarcophagi that reveal how long this city has been in the crossroads of culture. Highlights include the Venus Landolina, a celebrated marble statue, as well as a large collection of coins, jewelry, and temple fragments. The museum is laid out clearly with plenty of explanations in English, so it's easy to follow even if you're not a history expert. Admission is around $9, and most visitors spend at least an hour here, though anyone interested in archaeology could happily stay longer. Insider tip: don't miss the Greek section. It holds some of the finest pieces from Syracuse's golden age, including sculptures and artifacts from the city's ancient temples. Catacombs of San Giovanni. Next, make your way to the Catacombs of San Giovanni, one of the most atmospheric sites in Syracuse. This underground network was created in the 4th century AD and stretches for hundreds of yards beneath the old basilica above. Walking through the dim corridors, you'll see ancient burial niches carved directly into the rock, with occasional chapels and faded frescoes still visible. Visits are guided only, which helps bring the site to life, and the tour typically lasts about 30 minutes. Admission is around $7. Insider tip: bring a light jacket, the temperature underground stays cool even on hot summer days. Late afternoon, lunch at Sicilian Here and Now. After your catacombs visit, stop for lunch at Sicilian Here and Now, a modern Sicilian eatery just a short walk away. The menu takes traditional ingredients and gives them a creative twist, with fresh pasta dishes, seafood plates, and seasonal specials. Expect mains to cost about $12 to $20, with starters and drinks bringing a full meal to around $20 to $30 per person. The relaxed vibe and friendly service make it a good place to recharge before diving back into history. Neapolis Archaeological Park. The highlight of Syracuse's mainland is the Neapolis Archaeological Park, a vast area filled with some of the most important ruins in Sicily. The park brings together 4 major sites: the Greek theater, the Roman amphitheater, the altar of Hadon II, and the ear of Dionysius. The Greek theater is one of the largest ever built, carved directly into the hillside, and is still used today for open-air performances each summer. The Roman amphitheater, partly cut into the rock, gives you a vivid picture of how gladiatorial games were staged here. The altar of Hadon II, although only its foundations remain, was once one of the largest altars in the Greek world, used for massive public sacrifices. Finally, the ear of Dionysius is a tall, man-made cave famous for its incredible acoustics. Guides often demonstrate how even a whisper carries dramatically inside. Tickets cost about $12, and you'll want at least 90 minutes to walk the grounds at a comfortable pace. The park is large with uneven surfaces and little shade, so bring water and wear good shoes. Insider tip: if you can, visit in the afternoon. The light is softer for photos, the heat is less intense, and the Greek theater looks especially impressive as the sun begins to set. Evening: dinner at Aputia. End your day with a dinner at Aputia, a cozy trattoria in Ortigia known for its home-style Sicilian cooking. The menu changes with the seasons, but you can expect hearty pasta dishes, fresh seafood, and meat plates that highlight local ingredients. Portions are generous and prices are fair. A full dinner with wine usually comes to around $20 to $35 per person. The casual, welcoming atmosphere makes it feel almost like eating in someone's home rather than a restaurant, and it's a favorite among both locals and travelers. Try their pasta alla norma if it's available. It's a Sicilian classic with eggplant, tomato, and ricotta salata that perfectly captures the flavor of the island. That's our journey through Syracuse, from Ortigia's sunlit squares and markets to the ancient theaters and catacombs of the mainland. It's a city where every corner tells a story and every meal feels like a discovery. If you enjoyed exploring with us, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss our next guides. And if Sicily is calling, check out our Trapani itinerary next. It's the perfect pairing for your time in Syracuse.